I'm Alice Miller Nation. I'm the director of the Franciscan Center for Social Concern at S.t Bonaventure University. Many of you know about the warming house, and then it might ask you to, or it might pose you to ask the question, what's happening to the warming house now with COVID-19? The university is committed to keeping the warming house open, and I'm thankful for that. Our numbers have increased with all the layoffs that are happening and people unexpectedly losing their jobs. The warming house is needed now more than ever. Let me take you inside and show you how we've changed some of our operations to meet the needs of COVID-19. This is our entryway. This is where our first staging before we serve our guests. We're now doing all takeout meals. We actually started before the state of New York required restaurants to do takeout only. So what happens is we plate our meals in the dining room now, and we bring it to here. We then take one or two, or if somebody's picking up 4 or 5 meals, out at a time, so that guests don't really have the opportunity to touch a lot of different meals, and we're keeping it pretty contained, the amount of people who are touching things and the contact with other people. We've really moved to a low contact, no contact method of serving our guests. You know, it's not how we're used to doing it. I mean, we're used to touching our guests and hugging them and shaking their hand, and during this time, we've all had to change our ways. We've gone to a ticket system so that when guests arrive, they receive a ticket, and then they can spread out, and they know that they'll be called in the order that they came. They can come up to the table, one person in the box at a time, a lot like going to the grocery store nowadays, and they can get their food. We then have another table that the guests can pack up their food if they're packing up several meals. Again, it's to minimize contact with us and our guests and us, and then it moves the line along too. Come on in and let me show you how we've changed our dining room. It doesn't look like the dining room you might be used to. So, we used to have a dining room with tables and chairs spread out all over. Not so anymore. This is our plating area. What we try to do is plate in the same pretty manner that we've done it in the past, so that when you're coming to the warming house, you can open up your to-go box and you can still expect food that looks nice. I try to compare it to a restaurant. If we do a takeout from a restaurant, the food looks nice in the box and it's just not thrown all in there. So what we do is we have all these tables set out. We use the tables over here, and we try to spread out so that the volunteers in the warming house on that particular day are farther than 6 feet away from each other. We do our best. Over here is where we prep our coffee. We'll prep up to 50 cups of coffee and juice and milk for our guests for the day. So on a typical day at the warming house, we might serve, this is pre-COVID-19, we might serve anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 meals a day. Now we're pushing 65 and almost 70 meals a day. Each week our numbers go up, and I anticipate that the numbers will continue to rise until we hit our peak, until we get past this crisis, until people get back to work. Many of our guests are what you would consider the working poor. People who are just making it. And by coming to the warming house to eat, it stretches their dollars for other things that they need to pay for during these days. I've received a lot of support for the warming house. Lots of phone calls, lots of messages. How can we help? And I thank you for every single one of those. About a week ago, we put together a reserve team. If somebody currently working at the warming house is compromised, if their health is compromised, we all might have to take a 2-week quarantine. And so what we did a week ago was put together a reserve team. People who are willing to stay away from the warming house right now, people who are willing to stay socially distant so that we know that they're healthy coming in to help our guests. It's my hope that we never have to call on them, but if we do, we have them in reserve. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for all the businesses who are offering us food, support with takeout containers and bags and all the things that we need. You know, I've been saying for the past 6 months or so, the warming house isn't mine. The warming house doesn't belong to the Franciscan Center for Social Concern, and the warming house doesn't belong to just St. Bonaventure. What I've realized out of this COVID crisis is that the warming house is all of ours. And I thank you very much for being a part of who we are and owning the warming house along with us. God bless, and stay healthy and stay safe and stay 6 feet apart from other people.